Alrighty, folks. I want to welcome you back to another video from H Computers Tips and Reviews. So for this one, want to make sure everybody heads on over, hits the subscribe, hits the bell, get all the updates. So this one is an updating video. I know I've gone through a lot of these with updates. Now this is not your Windows update. Of course, you want to make sure you have all your Windows updates. You want to make sure you have all your critical patches. You want to make sure you have all of this stuff. One of the major factors out there is your updates, your patches. Patches and updates fall into the same category. A lot of people say, make sure your software is updated. Software updates are a little different than software patches. Software updates I consider as being up to date to the current version. Patching is fixing all security vulnerabilities in the version you have. Now, versions in software is a whole rabbit hole in itself. You have versions within versions. I know I've talked about this before. Windows 8, let's just go to Windows 10. Windows 22.H2, 22.H1, 21.H2, 21.H1. What was it? 1833 was the original, I believe. These are versions. Within those versions, there are other versions or other patch levels within that version. That's why you do your monthly patching or updates and patching through Windows. Updates will actually update the version. Patching is actually patching the version you have. So this gets into a complicated thing, because what I'm talking about now, that's the only way I can structure this enough that people would understand patching and version. And you could go into your software programs to see what you have installed. And in there, it'll tell you what version number you have. I'm sure everybody gets the, make sure you update your Firefox. Make sure you update Internet Explorer. Make sure you update your Google. You're updating your browsers. How many people actually go into Microsoft Office and apply updates? In Windows itself, it has an option in there that says, do you want to update other Microsoft products? You can actually do it all through there. You have to make sure that's enabled so it can pull those updates. Now, it's not only that. It's your Adobe. It's your photo software. It's all your softwares that you want to make sure you go in and apply the updates to. If you have Dell has software that you can go on them and pull Windows update. You can pull driver updates and other things, BIOS updates and other things from them. Not only from Microsoft. Microsoft will provide you a lot of these things. But there might be a specific driver you're looking for. Your drivers. I'm sure there's lots of videos out there about your driver updates, your BIOS flashes for your video card. These are the patches that I'm talking about. Upgrading would be, you have Adobe 9. It's unsupported anymore. You can't get patching for it. You need to get the newest version. You got to update it so you can get your patches. So there's a variable here in updating. And I wanted to go through and explain a lot of this to explain there's a difference. Because, again, when you get into Security Plus, Network Plus type of stuff, you get into a lot of these structures of making sure these things are updated. This is really where a lot of business, security, IT professionals focus on, is making sure you have these kind of updates. Well, I don't believe this information's getting out to the general public. Nobody's talking about that. Just got huge emails about the new vulnerability in Windows, about making sure you apply all your patching because it's on all Windows versions. But again, that's going back to Windows. But this stuff is in other forms of software. Your accounting software, your other things. If you have year-end updates you do, those are your patching. It's not really an update. That is a patching. Update is usually a version. If you're going from 19 to 20, whatever, it can be considered as an update also because it is another platform of the software. So it gets into that rabbit hole where people call things different terms and they actually can mean the same thing. And it can get complicated, but this is really where I wanted to summarize the difference is to make sure people are aware. Doing Windows Update is not the only update you need to be aware of. Get into open software, free software you download. A lot of that stuff might not have patches, it might not have other things, but it might have new versions. So you have to upgrade to a new version that is actually patching whatever problems they had. So it is the same, but it is separate. Because it's not, you could say, okay, patch this. It's going to tell you, you need to download this software, remove the old one, and install the new one. So to me, that is not a patch. That is actually an upgrade because you're actually removing that software, putting in a new software. But it is a patch because you patched the issue by getting the newest software. There's some free video software that we use in certain places and certain things and recommend to people. Certain audio software that's free that's out there. Make sure you have the patches and you have the newest versions. Don't get caught where you have 10 versions back and you have a vulnerability. Vulnerability is very, very important nowadays because that's where a lot of things are happening. Ransomware and those type of things are taking place due to that. You don't want to have those kind of vulnerabilities. You don't want to have something that's pretty much a simple fix that nobody's told you, hey, go check that. Go see. Most of it is if you open up the software, you go into the menu, there's usually a help or it says version. You click on that, it'll tell you what version. A lot of them will tell you, have a thing. Check for an update. Check to see if you have current version. Or you just Google it. Once you go to help, it'll tell you, I have version 3.11. Go on there, go onto their official site, and if it says current versions 3.11, you're good. If it says version 8.11, you might, whoa, you might. And if it's free downloaded software, update that thing. Make sure you have the current updated software. All the other software you installed into that system. So this is where it comes down to point 2. And it's kind of going to be another video of the security side. If you have software in there you are not using, remove it. Because number one, it keeps your computer more secure. Number two, it's less work you have to do with trying to figure out patches and updates and all this other stuff on software you're not even using. Why patch it and upgrade it if you're not using it, if you don't need it? Makes your computer safer, makes it more secure by not having that extra bloat, not taking up the space in your computer. All of that type of stuff that can happen. Slowing your computer down because it's probably running in the background because you didn't go in and shut it off at startup or boot up or in services or in your privacy settings, and it's running when nobody's ever even using it. And it's been running for 3 years. Not to mention power draw, all these other little things that can be going on. Wear and tear on your system, a lot of little things that go on. So this is the rabbit hole effect of just as simple of patching. Knowing what software you got in there and keeping it up to date and current. And then go, why is this in here? I don't even need this. There's stuff Windows installs by default. Browsers install by default that you can take out. Old security software. Maybe you downloaded a free security software you're not using and then you put something else in and it did not tell you, hey, by the way, you still have this in there. You shouldn't have two softwares, and it just installed and you've been using it. You got two things running. Are they both up to date? You might have your current one up to date, but that other one you installed 2 years ago is 2 years old because it hasn't been updated. Making sure you know what's in there, having the proper patches and updates. So, got this one small. Again, make sure you head on over, hit the subscribe. Again, this is another factor I don't hear a lot of people talk about. A lot of people saying, hey, by the way, check this. Because when you're in big business, you check this. You do worse than this. You actually tell systems what software specifically it can run. You can run Outlook. You can run Firefox. You cannot run Chrome. You cannot run that. You can lock them down completely in policies and procedures and firewall and other things that are out there. You can do that in your home. You can do that in your small business. You can get the software to do that. So this is why I wanted to bring this up, because it goes a lot deeper. So this is just the fundamentals. This is basic small business, home user information, because most big business people aren't going to care about what I'm saying. They're going to know most of this. They're going to have their people that are certified that know this. And this is the point of having people that have gotten certifications and gotten that information, so they're up to date and current on this technology. So I want to wrap this one up. Hopefully everybody understood it. And there's more videos to come. Stick around. Thank you so much.